on a case, we're not ready to do the whole city, but if you have an issue that, because we looked at something just recently that was brought to our attention by one of the businesses. So yeah, please let us know. We'll take a look at it, and we can do individual repairs. So if you've got an issue that we need to address, just let us know.
I'm just trying to get clarification. You said it's off the alley.
No, actually, it's the alley. I live on Main Street, and I drive
Okay.
in the alley.
What we typically do after the summer, going into the fall, going into winter, is make sure we go through all the alleys. One, to clear them for foliage that's grown over vegetation, and secondly, to do exactly what you're talking about with crushed asphalt. That's something that's coming closer, October-ish. Right now, we're doing some other stuff, more so in the potholes, grass cutting, tree trimming, that kind of stuff. So it's just a process of waiting.
Okay. But if there is an issue that has to be addressed immediately, you should let us know.
Right, and that's my concern, because every time it's heavy rain, right at the end of the
Gotcha.
right at the bottom of my driveway.
Gotcha. Okay. I think we can correct that. Two things. Well, let me first answer your second question, and then get back to the grass. The chief is hiring part-time police officers. If you are certified as a police, you have to be certified. But if you're certified as a police officer, the chief is hiring. We have it in the budget. We have money in the budget for part-time police officers. We particularly need them between May and October. I will tell you that most of our part-timers will not get that much work between October and May. The winter. It's the summer months that we really, that they get most of their work. Darwin mentioned the grass. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the grass is being cut. We've got a lot less tall grass. We're not there yet, but we're very close to where we should be when we go up and down the streets. And I have to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I went through the neighborhoods, and I was appalled that we had not made as much progress as I had hoped and as I had thought. And so we have improved or reinvigorated our efforts, and we intend to have neighborhoods, not just Pipestone, not just Main Street, not just
Broadway,
and Colfax,
everything.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Manager. One question. I'll start like this. President Clinton, when he was elected, he got less than 50% of the vote. I think he was right around 30%. President Obama was right around.
What percent?
He was around about 33%.
No, sir.
He was. Only 50% of the people voted.
Oh, okay, you're talking about of
Yes.
the total electorate, not of the people, not of the
Exactly.
people who voted.
So less than 50% voted. Out of the 50% that did, he got around 33%. President Obama got around 36%.
Of the qualified voters?
Totally electorate.
Certainly not of the total people who voted.
Please listen. Out of 100% of the voters, only 50% voted. 50% didn't even go.
I agree with that.
And out of the 50 that did vote,
Right.
which means that President Clinton is only representing 30% in terms of who voted for
I hear
him.
your logic.
Okay, so I'm just saying, in your logic of using that to say we're going to remove seats of representation.
I'm not removing it. I'm simply recommending the change.
Well, I appreciate your recommendation, and I am pleased that the voters will decide. Lastly, what happens, because I was in Lansing recently, and from what I learned, they're very close to the repeal of Public Act 4. Basically waiting to verify a few thousand signatures. What happens if and when Public Act 4 is repealed? I know that there's a court case where they have to deem it constitutional or unconstitutional. What happens if it's repealed And what happens if it's deemed unconstitutional, or vice versa? Is that too much?
No, I hear your questions. Let me state it as a layman, not as an attorney. My response. With regard to the repeal, the manner in which this will be handled is like this. If there are enough signatures to certified voters to request or approve the request for a repeal, at that point, Public Act 4 will be suspended, not repealed, but suspended, until the election of November 2012, at which time the voters will have an opportunity to decide whether they want to accept or reject PA4.
Similar to what you're doing, Logan, in terms of putting a recommendation for referendum.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right. So people will have an opportunity in November 2012. However, in between the time that it is suspended and the time that the voters make their decision, there will be no enforcement, clearly, because it's suspended, PA4. So whether or not there will be a substitute for PA4 or whether there will be anything at all, I'm not privy to.
Fire is ready. Yeah,
The fire is ready.
Fire. That's what I'm trying to. John, we're running out.